Gillespie Park. I think I was working with you, Veronica, on a small historic district there. Yeah, and we had more than 60% of the property owners in agreement, but at that point, the city commission wanted everybody to be in agreement, so that district didn't go through. But, you know, it's just,
And that's the difference between local and national.
yes.
National is an easier listing, and it's less circumscribing.
Hi, my name is Don Farm with the Indian Shores Association. Also, and there was a mention made earlier of our board thinking about a designation for a portion of the neighborhood. And I noticed that some of the entire neighborhoods in Sarasota are designated, like Laurel Park and Central Coconut. What is the, as a board, what should we be looking at in trying to determine whether we should take just a small piece of the neighborhood or whether we should look at a broader part or the entire neighborhood, which is some 1,200 homes in the case of Indian Beach Sapphire Shores?
Well, actually, when I'm talking about the Laurel Park National Register Historic District, that does not follow exactly the lines of the Laurel Park neighborhood, nor does Central Coconut follow the lines of the Central Coconut neighborhood. There are literally whole books written about how to define boundaries of National Register historic districts. And so you need to identify, you know, unifying elements of the location. So they have to all have the same period of significance. You know, let's just say that at Laurel Park, we identified that as being from the teens because they have some settlement era houses, maybe up through 1930. So, so you really have to find the unifying elements and then make a decision about where the historic districts are. Fortunately, the city of Sarasota undertook a really extensive survey process. I think they concluded it 5 or 10 years ago, but over the course of 10 years, they surveyed every neighborhood. And in the case of the Indian Beach Sapphire Shores neighborhood, that study identified where they felt there could be National Register historic districts. And so that's what, you know, your neighborhood association's been working from, to the best of my knowledge.
Another question over here.
Hi, my name is Dara Shanker. I'm Anna Rita's neighbor. And I'm wondering, we are registered locally, our homes are registered. Do they have a local register police that come around? And I mean, it's been quite a while, and I just wondered about that.
I would encourage you to contact the City of Sarasota's Historic Preservation Planner. His name is Dr. Clifford Smith. And I don't think there are historic preservation police because the staffing levels are just too low. But if you, there is in the city's ordinance, at least there used to be, a provision for what we call demolition by neglect. And so that would mean there was an historically designated home that wasn't being properly maintained. And, you know, that in itself can ultimately cause the building to fall down, as we all know. So I'm not, you know, I don't want to speak to it specifically because I'm not that aware of it, but I would ask to bring it to his attention, see if he'd make a site visit, and then see if there's, you know, any ability for you to use that provision and testify before the Historic Preservation Board about your concern. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that wraps it up. I'd like a nice stand for that. And again, I want to remind you the meeting has been videotaped. It'll be posted perhaps as early as tomorrow. And as soon as possible, I'll post information. The publications that are at this table you should take a look at. Some of them are available for you to take a copy of. Others are personal copies that belong to Lori.
Yes.
And we'll see you next month.